Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for this full moon in Virgo that happens on the 7th of March. And this 7th of March is really very, very significant day. And this whole March is actually a very intense and life-changing month. And it doesn't mean that everything will happen in March, but it means that March will open new paths for us, new passages, new highways, new crossroads, and we will have an opportunity to let go, to finally let go of something we've been dragging with us this whole life or many lifetimes. And Saturn is entering Pisces on the 7th of March. On the same day when we have this full moon in Virgo, we have Saturn changing signs. And in the same month, Pluto is changing signs. So we have two titans, Pluto and Saturn, changing signs in 1 month. This is really huge and very important, but we won't talk about these big transits now. You can find much more details about this in our yearly forecast for 2023 on our YouTube channel Moon Omens, if you want to know more. But I will of course mention about Saturn in Pisces in this video right now, because it's very connected to this full moon in Virgo. And Virgo and Pisces, these two cannot live without each other. Actually, Virgo and Pisces are inseparable, as every pair of opposites are. They are inseparable. So Pisces is ocean, while Virgo is like sand. So we have a shore and the ocean, Virgo and the Pisces. Virgo represents the shore and the sand, while Pisces represent the ocean and the sea. The beach and the sea. And there is, of course, surface and the depth, rational and irrational, Virgo and Pisces. Hard work, Virgo, devotion, and analytical way of thinking, while Pisces is intuition and meditation. And Virgo is doing, Pisces is being. Schedules and tasks versus just being and doing nothing. So this is an opportunity to integrate the divine with the mundane, the divine, the Pisces, and the mundane, Virgo. So this is practical side of life, Virgo, and the deep metaphysical side, Pisces. And these are interesting times to be alive, really. And Saturn, only 1 hour after this full moon in Virgo, Saturn is leaving Aquarius, where it's been since 2020, and it's entering Pisces, where it will be until February of 2026. So we will have 3 years of Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn hasn't been in Pisces since 1996. So this will be something new for us, or something that we are going to go through again, if we can remember what we've been through while Saturn was in Pisces the last time. And this is an initiation. This full moon in Virgo is the beginning and the ending at the same time, just as Pisces energy is the beginning and the ending. And whenever there is a full moon means that the moon is in one sign and the sun is in its opposite sign. So we have the moon in Virgo and the sun in Pisces, and they are looking at each other. They are in perfect opposition. And this is what it means, the full moon. Something is illuminated, something is brought to light, to its fullness, and it's culminating. It's ending, or it's coming to a fruition. It's coming to an end or to a fruition, or it may be both. Something we've been working on is maybe finally coming to its full circle. So it's time to see something, perhaps what we've been avoiding as well. Something is illuminated that it wasn't able to be seen or acknowledged before, and now we are able to acknowledge it. And it will be for each of us in different area, but Virgo archetype is about health, healing, well-being, but it's also about stress management. It's also about purification and purging. It's also about perfection. It's also managing stress, time management, schedules, tasks, daily routines and habits, food that we eat, the way we nurture ourselves, the way we serve others, the way we treat animals, the way we take care of ourselves. It's about being practical, being efficient, being pragmatic, being useful, doing things that can leave some mark, that can that have some density, that have something concrete. It is about fixing things. Virgo wants to fix things, to make them perfect, to improve something, to constantly improve things. So we may be fixing and correcting things. It may be a time to improve things in our life. And this full moon will illuminate things that need to be improved, things that we've been avoiding, maybe with our health. It may be time to really do some serious work with our healing and detoxing and purifying ourselves, especially with Saturn entering Pisces and watching this full moon from the opposite side of Pisces. So it's and in the next 3 years, of course, Saturn will be looking at Virgo archetype. It will have its eye on our health. And both of these archetypes, Pisces and Virgo, they have in common health and healing and well-being and service to others as well. So these things will be crucial. They are really important. And we are going to be inspired to make things right. If we have wronged someone, or if we have wronged ourselves, as we have, of course, we are going to make it right. And this full moon is like a ticket that gives us this opportunity. And it's a train that we are going to take and travel in the next 3 years. It's our journey of self-healing, but also making things right with ourselves and with others. So it's about making it work. It's about not making mistakes and making mistakes at the same time, because we learn not to make mistakes by making mistakes in the first place. So this energy can also trigger the feelings of guilt and shame. Virgo archetype is very much related to shame and guilt. Feeling ashamed of something, and this feeling of being ashamed can be very addictive as well, and it can be manipulative. We can manipulate ourselves and others through feelings of shame and through playing a victim or a martyr. Do we want to be a martyr, or are we ready to get out of that pattern? Are we taking too much on ourselves? Are we taking responsibility for others, or are we giving our own duties and tasks to others to do them? Are we taking advantage of, or are we taking advantage of someone? Are we letting others do our job, or are we doing the job of others? In either way, it's not good, because if we are doing the job for others, if we are taking too much on ourselves, we are actually preventing others from doing their own karma. So we are taking it on ourselves, which is not good. Of course, we are then accumulating their karma as well. So if they do job for us, if we let others do our job, it's also very, very toxic for us. So it's time to really discern. It's the art of discerning. Virgo is the master of discerning. It's time to really see what is our job and what is not our job, what is right for me and what is not right for me. And if are we making a chaos chaos is Pisces and order is Virgo, but we need both. We cannot escape either. And this energy can also make us feel chaotic and neurotic as well, and hysteric also. That's why Virgo archetype can also sometimes be messy and chaotic, because the opposite is Pisces, so it can go into that extreme. It depends on in which extreme do we take. But as we know, we have to know the right measure for everything. It's not the point to live in extremes, but we often do live in extremes. We either live totally unhealthy for one period of time, and then we decide that we have to be healthy and do some cleanings and cleansings, and then we do some of those things. Then we again go into another extreme. So we are continuously, like on the pendulum of the extremes. So it's really a time to practice modesty, to practice moderation, and we will learn definitely. And this energy is also teaching us and showing us what is crucial, what is our highest priority. If there was some danger that is out of our control, Virgo wants to have everything under control. So there is part of us that wants to have it all under control, to have it all as we planned it to be, to have our life and the day that as we planned it to be. But that's not how life works. Life is messy and spontaneous, and we have to learn when are we going to surrender to the flow, and when are we really able to do something about things. So it's not only about being, it's not only about doing, it's about integration of both. It's about being and doing, but knowing the right moment, knowing when is time for being and when is time for doing. And if there was some danger that is out of our control, and if we had to leave it all, to just run and escape, what would we take with us? What are the things that we would take with us? And if there was that kind of situation in our inner world, what kind of beliefs would we take with us? What are the most powerful beliefs that we have cultivated until now? And what new beliefs do we have to build? What new perspectives? What perspectives would we leave behind? And what perspectives would we take with ourselves? And this is a time for really finishing with all excuses. And if we have a need to justify ourselves, and if we continuously search for excuses to justify ourselves, it's really time to just be honest with ourselves. If we don't want to do something, it's really okay to just say, I don't want to do it, instead of searching for excuses, because that's very exhausting. That's exhausting our spirit. If we are constantly searching for excuses, we starve our spiritual side of ourselves, and that's why we feel exhausted, and that's why we feel lack of inspiration, because we constantly seek for those excuses to justify our behavior or our doing or non-doing in any way with others or with ourselves. So we don't have to make up any excuses. That's really important to remember. It's really okay, and it's really fine, and it's really natural to say, I cannot do it, or I don't want to do it, instead of searching for those excuses continuously. And Virgo part in us helps us to clear out the dust, to remove these excuses so we can see more clearly. And it's really, the Virgo archetype embodies the secrets of life. Virgo is the 6th sign in the zodiac, and it comes right after Leo, and it's the last sign before the upper part of the zodiac. It's the last sign in the lower part of the chart, and it's right below the horizon, and it's right before Libra, where we have development of relationships. And Leo is, very personal And all the signs under the horizon are very personal. And then we have Virgo, and this shifts. There is a shift from personal and egoic and selfish way of looking at things. There is this service to others. There is this need for modesty, for humility, for being humble. So there is a development of consciousness of others, and this service to others that's really building up right now. And the Virgo archetype, the Virgo the Virgin, and Virgo the Virgin, it has to do with purity, pure thoughts, pure emotions, pure body. All these three levels need to be as pure as possible. But if we are obsessed with perfection and purity, then it's also not good, because we cannot continuously strive. If we are striving for perfection obsessively, we will always fail. The point is to understand that beauty is really in imperfection, being imperfect. And when we are aware that we are imperfect, there is a tendency to improve ourselves continuously, which is a good thing. We have to improve ourselves, to develop ourselves, but we should also be satisfied with where we are and who we are, instead of trying to gain that perfection or searching for that perfection from others constantly, and then blaming and criticizing others because of their imperfection. So Virgo archetype, of course, can be very critical, highly judgmental, and self-critical as well. So we may have a need to criticize others, or there is an inner voice that criticizes others, and there is inner voice that criticizes ourselves. And there is important thing to know, that this energy can be transmuted into something much higher, something more spiritual, something more essential. And for example, what would happen if we put the same amount of energy, effort, love, and all our strength, if we put the same amount of those things into something that is immortal, into something infinite, into some spiritual qualities, instead of putting so much effort into things that are changeable, that will be gone sooner or later, that are mortal, that are finite, that are purely physical. What if we put the same amount of energy that we are putting into, gaining success and material stability and, bigger salaries and incomes? What if we put not maybe all, but let's say at least half of that energy into developing our inner qualities? Miracles would happen. And that's the Pisces. Pisces is the miracle zone. And it's the dissolution of ego. It's the dissolvement of ego. So we are now dissolving some of our parts. And there is a sense of loss, sense of losing something that may be valuable to us at first. But when we go through the process, we may see that the worth wasn't that worthy at all. So this is teaching us about true values of life, the true qualities. And the Virgo archetype is actually consciousness grounded in the body. So there is this divine energy that is manifested through physical. Virgo is the earth sign, and it's ruled by Mercury. So we have this beautiful intellectual energy, very smart energy, but then again the ability to really ground the consciousness into our bodies, to become the channel for the divine energy, for our higher selves. And in previous video, when there was new moon in Pisces, I mentioned the symbol Vesica Piscis. So I will mention it again because Virgo glyph has that M letter, and there is this loop that represents a serpent, and actually the serpent's head that is actually going into the earth. So that's that inner fire and that consciousness that is grounded in the body. But this loop also forms the shape of Vesica Piscis. The loop of the glyph of Virgo creates the same form, which is very similar to fish, actually, if you see it. So this is the symbol of union of the opposites. It's connected, of course, with sacred geometry and the divine feminine in the form of yoni, but we won't go into. I don't know if I can show you. Just a moment. I have to show you how it looks. The glyph of Virgo. Okay, so here it is. As you see, this is like very similar to fish and Pisces. So that's the same intersection between two circles of Vesica Piscis. So it's very, very symbolical and deep. It's not only, Virgo is not only about habits, routines, work, schedules, getting things done, being practical, earning, doing the hard work, serving others. It's not only about that. It's much more. It's about integrating the divine cosmic energies in itself and transferring it through the body. That's why it's related to the body and the earth. It's the wisdom of the body, wisdom of the earth, wisdom of the physical and the metaphysical. So it's the ability to transfer the energies of metaphysical through the physical. And, Virgo is related to archetypes of high priestesses and the goddess of grain, who creates life, and with practical science, with knowledge of plants and herbs. And it's the great physician, the archetype of the great physician, the healer, the preserver of life, which is able to restore life. So we are now reminded that we are these great physicians of life. We are able to restore life, to preserve life. And how we do that? Through this work that is actually work that we enjoy. That's Virgo, should be the highest expression of Virgo, to do the work that we enjoy doing. And by doing the work that we enjoy doing, we are serving others in the most appropriate way. So serving others, it's not about being slave to others. It's about being really of service, and through this service experiencing joy, receiving back the joy of being able to help, to heal. Not to heal, we cannot heal others, but we can help them on their path. And, virgin really means being self-contained. And it's not, it's not about being completely pure in everything. We have to, we have to get our hands dirty in this life. As I said before, this life can be messy and chaotic, but it's our job to find peace in that chaos, to find order in chaos and chaos in order, similar to that yin-yang symbol, similar to this Vesica Piscis meaning as well. We cannot keep ourselves apart and separate from life. We have to get involved in life. This can be, the Pisces extreme, wanting to escape the physical, wanting to escape the body, and running into the unconscious by, anyway, alcohol, substances, drugs, pills, prescriptions of all kinds, TV shows, even meditation, as I said in previous video, can be spiritual bypassing if we are only doing it for the sake of escaping the reality, of escaping and decreasing the pain, of escaping the pain and suffering. We cannot escape it. It will come in one way or another, sooner or later again. We cannot escape that what we have to go through. So living like that is denial of life. And this can be an extreme of escaping, totally escaping and denying the physical, denying the work, denying the routines, denying daily life. Or we can be overworking, going into another extreme of Virgo, and totally denying the spiritual side of life and living only in material, physical world. What is real, what I can see is real, what I can touch is real. None of it, none of what I cannot see or touch is real. Non-believers, believers versus non-believers. So can we grow enough to be able to perceive the wisdom of each of these archetypes, to perceive the wisdom of each opposites, to see that everything is and isn't at the same time. And we cannot skip the life, but also we cannot ignore the unknown, the unseen, the invisible side of life, because there is so much of life that we don't see actually. So we have to do something real in the world, Virgo. We have to do something real to manifest our gifts and talents. They are invisible until we manifest them. Remember, our ideas belong to the metaphysical side of life until we manifest those ideas. Everything that we want to create in this life is first coming from the invisible world, and then it becomes visible. So we have to remember this too. And the desire for perfection is actually driven by the sense that something is missing, or something isn't good enough. This is that kind of inner stress and inner dissatisfaction. And this is nothing to worry about too much. Virgo part in us can worry too much. We can be worried about many things, and we can allow our minds to just go on and repeat. This is also Virgo, repetitive tasks, repetitive days, repetitive things, routines and habits. And so we are really asked to use the Pisces as our way to be, and use Virgo as our way to do. Being able to integrate both of these, and being really aware that we cannot force reality to work in the way that we want it to work. We cannot force reality to conform to our ideas and ideals. That's not the idea of life. And the questions now that arise are, what would I do in this life if I didn't have to do it for money? What would I enjoy doing if I didn't have to do it because I have to do it? What would I do in a world without money? But also, what would I still want to do even if everything fails? If everything fails, if I lose everything, what would I still want to do? These kinds of questions will bring the rise of some deep answers as well. And we are dealing with some kind of frustrations too, because some people, this Saturn in Pisces will really show us what is not right in our life, what we have to seriously become devoted to. What are we devoted to? This full moon in Virgo is also asking us, what are we really devoted to? Where is our devotion seen? Where do I see my true devotion? What am I investing in? And how would I react if if it turns out that everything I've been working on was for nothing? These things should be important now, because we are asking ourselves what is truly important. What are we truly losing if we lose something? For example, if we are investing too much in material things, for example, we are building a house for, many years. We are building a house and something happens that is outside of our control, and this house is ruined. what would we do? Would we be okay with it? Would we consider that all our efforts were for nothing, or would we see that as an opportunity for new beginning? So our perception is very important now. And if stress has been building up during these times, if stress has been building up lately and we've been avoiding stress, if we've been, procrastinating this stress, if we've been, just pushing it aside, it may explode during this full moon. Frustrations can culminate. We can become neurotic and hysteric. We can even become delusional because of Pisces. We can turn towards illusions, or we can be faced with our illusions. But it's really time of sobering. Saturn is coming into Pisces, so it's sobering moment. It's a reality check, and it won't be a one-day event. It will last for next 3 years. But this full moon in Virgo is very important because this lunation is like showing those wounded places, showing our vulnerabilities, showing what's not right, showing us what needs to be worked on, what needs to be corrected, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be improved. So we'll have a lot of work to do, for sure. A lot of work, Virgo. And that work also involves spiritual work, Pisces, and work on our healing. This full moon also trines Uranus. There is a trine which is supportive aspect. It's supportive and friendly and harmonious, and it can be a very enlightening moment. It can be some sudden realization, some sudden aha moment, some unexpected blissful moment when we understand something. We understand what we've been doing wrong and what we can do. These are times of sudden solutions also. So sudden solutions, but it will also push us outside of our comfort zone. Wherever there is Uranus, whether it's good or critical aspect, it's pushing us out of our comfort zone and making us find different kinds of solutions and making us surrender and release what needs to be released. And Saturn is actually here to show us how much we've grown over the past 3 years. And whenever Saturn is leaving one sign, it's been in Aquarius for 3 years. So whenever it's leaving one sign, it's also leaving some gifts along the way, gifts that we have earned and learned during its journey through that place. So what we've been doing these 3 years, we will have an opportunity to see and to gain some results, to reap what we have sown. And messages that we receive during this time will be very metaphorical and symbolic because of the Pisces energy. So the language of synchronicity will be very, very strong. So read the messages all around. And it's not just, clear messages, it's metaphorical messages. For example, we are thinking about something or we are asking a certain question, and in that moment we see some scene, or we see an animal passing, or we see something, someone, or anything. We have to be alert to see and then to interpret those messages, not necessarily with our rational mind, but just allow ourselves to see what kind of messages we receive in certain moments, or what catches our attention, because it's there for a reason. Everything that we see has some hidden message for us. So it's very important also to pay attention to our dreams. Our dreams are still very, very important, and symbols we see through dreams and people we meet in our dreams also have a special message. We are still in Pisces season, and especially now with Saturn in Pisces, our dreams will be wild, and it's all about the perspective, and Are we, the question is, are we reliving our nightmares over and over again? Are we slaves to our past experiences? Do we feel imprisoned in our past experiences? Do we repeat them continuously? This is something we will be able to see, and we will have an opportunity to cut the cord and to really enter some new chapter, to jump into something completely different. But of course, with knowledge from the past that we have inherited as well. So there is this feeling of anticipation. There is this feeling that something is about to happen, and we should be focused on what can be done instead of being focused on what we cannot control, things that are outside of our control. So let's not get lost in trying to be perfect, perfect employee, perfect boss, perfect partner, perfect parent, perfect brother, perfect sister, perfect child. Let's not get lost in trying to be perfect all the time, because when we do this, we also expect from others to be perfect as well. So this is what brings conflicts. And if we are trying too hard, we are creating this stress, and we are blocking the connection with the spirit in us. So if we could just relax, this can just come to us. If we can just relax. But do we know how to relax? That's the question. That's the big question, and it will be a big question in the next 3 years as well. Do we know how to relax? If we could just relax, we may actually really be able to see all these things from a very different perspective. From perspective of a higher vantage point, from where we can say, now I know, now I see why, now I see how, now I see when, all these things that are confusing us, confusions, Pisces, clarity, Virgo. So we have to discern, and what's been suppressed must be released. It must be released, and we will see what we have been suppressing and where we've been finding those excuses continuously. And this is this is all about our devotion, and devotion and commitment to purity. So this is the Virgin archetype is about the state of purity. So let's see what are our routines and habits, our daily work that is stressing us, that is not giving us any pleasure, that is actually destroying our body, our health, our spiritual connection, our social life, our career life, our family life. What are our daily routines, daily habits, daily tasks? What are our schedules? What do we do in our free time? What do we do with our free time? What do we do with our time in general? How do we use our time? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we serve others? And see what is rotten there, what needs to be uprooted. And there is a high attention to detail, and we may be very sensitive to details. So let's see that we have to change something. There is a need to make some radical change in our everyday life, because our habits actually create our character. The habits that we do every day, they build our character. So when we change our habits, we change our character, we change our identity actually. So let's see how can we create life that is more healthy in every way, that is pure, more pure in every way, that we can, what can we improve in our daily life. Virgo is also about our job and our work. Of course, we have to do some things, but we don't have to do everything. So it's time to see what is taking away our power, what is draining us, what is making us feel ill, what is making us feel like we are, just disappearing. What is making me feel like I'm disappearing? What are my routines and habits and tasks and daily work that is making me feel like I'm going to disappear? And what can I do? Virgo is about doing things, getting things done. So we really have a chance now to get things done, to do something concrete. And Pisces is passive, while Virgo is active. So we need to be able to know again when to be passive, when to be active, when we cannot do anything, and when we can do a lot. So we may fall into some lower expressions of Pisces, of course, and Virgo, and this unevolved Pisces is about deception, confusion, escapism, addictions, feeling like victim, having beliefs that are totally delusional, fantasizing and confusing fantasy with intuition, confusing imagination with reality. But we can also transform these things into the higher expression of Pisces, which is a true self-healing, a real opportunity to heal ourselves, connecting with the inner mystic, with the inner poet, with the inner dreamer, and manifesting those dreams. With Saturn in Pisces, we will have a very powerful opportunity to manifest our dreams, because Saturn is about something concrete and it's about manifestation. It's about bringing things to reality, while Pisces is dreams. So bringing our dreams to reality and swimming in those mystical and spiritual dimensions of life, and being able to bring something concrete from there. So but along the way we could face this self-criticism, as I said, and we may be hypersensitive, indecisive as well, but we can also be overindulgent in certain things that are addictive and that give us this sense of escaping. So Virgo demands the hard work. So, and Pisces part in us has a dream. So we may have to do some hard work in order to make a dream come true. So let's not be afraid of work as well. Let's not be afraid of work, and let's not be afraid of serving others, and let's not be afraid of the unknown also. Let's see what are things that we may be afraid of in Virgo and Pisces archetypes. So what am I willing to sacrifice in order to gain something? Pisces is sacrifice. We are asked and invited to raise the consciousness in the middle of these storms and chaos. So let's not get lost in those triggers of traumas and triggers of suffering. Let's not get lost. Let's remember that we have this divine energy within ourselves too, and we are taking ownership of our suffering, taking ownership of our traumas. And as I say always, see them as blessings, truly. Also, our health situation, if there is something that hurts me, if there is pain that is very heavy, if that pain is physical or mental or emotional, doesn't matter. We have to take ownership of that pain and see it as a blessing, because every painful situation, every loss, every illness is a very powerful message for us and powerful opportunity to change ourselves, to go through transformation. We would never otherwise go through transformation. We would never do it if everything was okay. If everything was all right in our life, we would never put any effort in trying to change ourselves. So challenges are there for our growth, and every illness and every health issue and every painful situation, every separation, every loss is another layer for us, another step on the road to climb, to grow. And it's a blessing for us. It's something that gives us opportunity to learn more, to change ourselves, to transform ourselves, because otherwise we would never do it. So we are taking these ownerships, and we are finding our inner peace through becoming responsible for our own vulnerabilities and traumas and pains. We are finding inner peace through really taking responsibility for those things that we don't like in our life. So the question is, can we really be focused on this inner work when all the crazy things are happening all around us? But yes, we can. Of course, there is never better time for it than when there is total mess happening. That's the time to focus on the spiritual strength, on our inner strength. And it's a true path toward liberation and awakening. So what do I need to remove? What slows down my process of evolution? So this is the moment to see that small things, small changes, small tasks can become very huge, like changing one habit in a day can create enormous change in our character. For example, if we stop doing something we've been doing every day for years, for many years, something that is not serving us anymore, we will very soon feel the change in our whole structure, in our whole organism. So this is a very powerful time for doing the detox, for cleansing, for healing, for cleaning, for changing the diet, for changing exercise regime, for changing the way we treat ourselves, for doing things that really make us feel useful, not in a way that we feel useful if we do something that is useful in a way that system approves, but doing something that is really useful, something that really counts, something that I can take with me through many lifetimes, not only now in this moment, but something that really stands the test of time, because we have there Saturn. As I said, Saturn is about long-term things. It's about things that last, something that has a true quality. It's a crystallization of something, and we may go through that crystallization of our wounds and pains, because that's the path to our liberation and freedom. So tiny, small tasks can be the key. Just as, small drops create the ocean when they are joined together. And that's what creates the power and the force. We can become that ocean now if we connect those parts, those little pieces. Virgo pieces and Pisces is the whole. The pieces of the puzzle and the whole puzzle. So the drops of the ocean and the whole ocean. So we can become the whole ocean by practicing those small tasks, but also, being aware that there is this greater picture. We can find the order in the middle of that chaos. We can surrender to life rather than trying to direct it in the way that we choose. So service and sacrifice, healing and, well-being and health. So we have to accept things that we don't like, so that we can bring to reality things that we do like. But it's not really about what we like or what we don't like. It's about how we respond to things that happen in life. Accept those things that where we don't actually find ourselves, where we don't fit in, because that's where we create something beautiful, something strong. when we do things that we don't necessarily, when we do things that we procrastinate with and that we know are good for us. For example, doing something that is more healthy for us and removing something that is unhealthy for us. This is, coming out of the comfort zone. But this will create miracle for our life if we do that. Just one small thing, one small habit we can change. So we are exposing the ugly details of our life. Now, this full moon will bring to light some details that we may not be comfortable with. Our addiction will be addressed. Our addictions will be brought to light as well. So we are addressing and locating those areas of our life where we feel ashamed, where we feel guilty, where we avoid certain things. What do we avoid? And we are going to see what needs to be refined. This full moon will shine the light on things that need to be refined in our life, so that we can see the fractals of the whole, and to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff. This is Virgo's job, to separate the wheat from the chaff, and this is what we're doing now. We are, we are collecting and connecting the pieces of ourselves, and we are removing and healing and transforming those things that are toxic, that are not serving us. So this is a very powerful process of purification, and it's not really comfortable, of course. It may be, like we have so many attachments. We are attached to so many things, and those things are like stickers all over ourselves. We have so many stickers on ourselves that we have to remove and unglue from us. So it can be a painful process, but it's very worthy. It's something that really pays off. And, structures are crumbling. And, we know this. Pluto is on last degrees of Capricorn. Capricorn is structures. Pluto is demolition and transformation. So these structures are really crumbling. They are falling apart. So in the same way, the structures of our own lives are crumbling, and it's a time of demolition. And especially when Pluto is on last degrees, this is when we feel it very strongly. So this is, the process of metamorphosis of the structure of our life. And we are restructuring ourselves, but we are also restructuring our spiritual selves, Saturn in Pisces. So we are also asked to see that all may not be as it appears to be, Pisces energy. This is what is an illusion. An illusion doesn't mean that something isn't there, but it means that it's not as it appears to be. It's very different. So when we see things from a different angle, we see them differently. We don't see them in the same way. So some of us may be able to see from all angles, to have a full high definition image, high quality, to see what it really looks like, or at least to see that it's not what it appears to be, so that we leave an open space to interpret it in a different way, not to make conclusions, not to make any final conclusions, and be prepared to see that things that appear real could be really an illusion. So we are facing these illusions big time, but we have to be open-hearted. Openness is very important. Openness to spirit, awareness of the spiritual existence. instead of, only believing in what we see. So there is a, a higher perspective of knowing. Wisdom is applied knowledge, so applied lessons. So let's apply those lessons that we have learned in previous 3 years. Let's apply them now, because if we don't apply the lessons that we have learned, it is seen as we haven't learned anything. So the lessons may be repeated, because the universe sees it as if we haven't learned it, if we don't use the lessons we've learned. So it's also a time to see that during the most difficult times, during the most challenging times, the job of human being is to be the most compassionate, caring, and tender that it can be. So it's not the point for us to be compassionate and kind when everything is good, but in the most challenging times, can we be compassionate, kind, gentle, and can we be of service to others when it's the most difficult? That's the question. That will show us where we are with ourselves, and how we walk through life, how we go through life. So it's not about searching for constant guidance. It's not searching for millions of interpretations. It's not looking for zillions of solutions, but it's about truly absorbing the life that is happening right here and right now in front of us. And, going through self-acceptance, forgiving ourselves. Pisces is about forgiving and self-forgiving, and understanding that it's totally fine not to be perfect. There is the beauty. The beauty is in imperfection. And, this energy makes us feel very sensitive and open and vulnerable and overwhelmed and empathic and open to all kinds of things. So this is a time when we can be hard on ourselves too. We can feel inadequate. Virgo, we can feel as if something is missing, but this is an opportunity to see what is hurting us, where is the wound. We can locate and address the wound. So this energy is very much about healing those things that are torturing us, and seeing them as a blessing instead of seeing them as something that we have to escape, something that we are, something that is haunting us. It's not haunting us, it's only there for us to see it. Imagine this is a message from our higher selves, so it needs to be delivered, but we are running away from the message. But the message needs to come to be delivered to us, so it is not after us, it is just trying to be delivered, but we are trying to escape it. We just have to open the door and say, yes, please, let me read the message, let me see the message, let me feel the message. So we are feeling the feelings. So this is a time of profound healing. And let's look at our devotions. Let's really see our devotions, and let's make sure that we are doing something each day that is valuable, that is worthy, that is healthy for us. Small tasks of devotion. That this is another powerful time to see that divine energy is in everything, and that service to humanity can ground us, actually. And we are able to connect with the earth in a very powerful way, and with all elements that actually are in the game. But this energy now, Pisces and Virgo, earth and water, are working very well together. So we may do something with earth and water that can be very practical, constructive, and relaxing at the same time. Anything. We can meditate on earth and water. We can just connect with those elements. We can connect with water and earth in a more powerful way in order to be able to walk through these processes, to understand them in a better way, to understand how to work with the energy of Saturn in Pisces, with the energy of full moon, with the energy of all that is coming, with Pluto changing signs on 23rd of March, with Mars finally changing signs after 7 months being in Gemini. This March is really, it's a brutal month, actually. We can get a lot of things done. This is time for spring cleaning. It's really spring cleaning, and it's time to become more invested in things that we are passionate about. So working with our own healing, being able to see the bigger picture, the Pisces, and to see the pieces of the picture, Virgo, to be able to understand the power of the practical and spiritual side of life, to be able to absorb the physical and the metaphysical, to see that the ocean and the sand create the whole picture. What would the ocean be without the shore? We need both in order to have that full image, and we need the surface in order to have the depth. How would we know that something is deep if there was no surface? So let's honor every part of it, every part of life. The failures, the fallings, all these things are very significant, because without these things, we wouldn't know what is success and what is upliftment. So, understanding that the depth and the essence is there because there is also the surface. So we may be, in these next 3 years, we are diving deep, reaching the bottom, then we are surfacing up again to bring the treasures that we have found on the bottom of the ocean of our own being. Then again we are diving deep, then again we are surfacing up. So this is something that is happening continuously, but we avoid, we are escaping, we are afraid of what we may lose if things get out of our control. But so what? Life is messy. We can never put life in order. It will always slip through our hands. We cannot put life in order. So let's be able to accept life as it is. Accept it with all challenges, with all traumas, with all negativity that is happening in the world. Because as long as we deny and resist these things, they keep growing. They become bigger because we feed them with our resistance, rejection, and fear. But if we accept these things, if we start accepting, acknowledging, understanding will come, and the wisdom will come, and the understanding and seeing is what makes these things dissolve. That's how it works. Ego dissolving, Pisces. So let's not forget the importance of both of these things, and let's try to see that life is both being and doing, and much more than that, of course, but these are the first things that we have to understand so that we can move further on our journey. And really, 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 let's give our best to be as aware and pure and healthy as we can during this time. Especially this March is really helping us march on our soul's journey and showing us that life is very complex and colorful and deep, and it's not only about gaining happiness and enjoyment. This is just one part of life. But we would never be able to understand the enjoyment and the happiness if we don't see the mess and the woundedness of life too. So the mess of life may be the step towards the happiness. Mess and happiness, they are not opposing each other. There is an invisible cord that ties them together. So if you want to really dive deeper into this March and what it means for your sign, maybe you can also find our huge monthly horoscopes. March is already there. You can find it on Moon Omens website, our new website, which is really powerful website. You can find all kinds of things there. I have to mention this because as much as I talk about this website and the content of the website, I'm sure that not everyone goes and check it out. But all of you who want to get more details of what this March can mean for you, I really deeply recommend March horoscopes. And they are really huge, but it's not only the quantity, it's really there you will find the quality and the quantity at the same time. And you should also check our latest articles on Moon Omen's website. They really are also very deep and profound. It's not just mainstream astrology, it's really talking with our soul. So I highly recommend that. You will for sure find something powerful there. And horoscopes are full of deep messages that can just click with you for sure, and that can trigger great flow of synchronicities and resolutions, and bring new feelings that you haven't maybe felt before, new way of looking at things that never occurred to you perhaps. And this is really an ideal time to feel those feelings and perspectives that we haven't really felt before or thought about before. These are new ways of sensing life and ourselves and the processes of life. So that would be it for now. And let's all dive deep and come back on the surface, jump out of from the surface with that deep wisdom, because we will all need it from now on. I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.